Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good afternoon, welcome. The IOC's Executive Board meeting has begun this afternoon discussing the 2016 Olympic Games and the acceptance of candidate cities.
The International Olympic Committee meeting in Athens, Greece, to announce finalists for the 2016 Olympic Games. While Chicago's official team, led by Mayor Richard Daley and Chairman Pat Ryan, waits for word that Chicago is in the running, the city's First Lady is on a journey of her own to find out what impact the modern Olympic Games had on Greece 4 years ago and what we might expect in Chicago. Will anything be fresh?
Everything is fresh at Athens Fish Market.
The main station under Constitution Square in Those who will benefit from the Olympics go beyond the athletes and fans. Restaurants will overflow with business, and those who supply them. While Chicago's Olympic team awaits word if we're in the top 4 cities being considered, the First Lady and I will see firsthand what the Olympics did for Athens and what it could do for Chicago. First, the international airport was completely rebuilt, modernized to handle the increase in visitors to come see the Olympics. Once a security problem for Europe, now it's state-of-the-art. And to get them into the city center, a new 6-lane expressway that wraps around hills and through them with updated and long-neglected tunnels. But the biggest gift that keeps on giving is the metro, a completely new transportation system that will take Athens through the 21st century. Athens was criticized for being late in completing some projects. This is one reason why. This could be an exhibit in a fine museum. There's a grave from the 2nd century BC. But it's not just an archaeologist's work. It's what was dug up and saved after they were building the main station under Constitution Square and here, the subway of Athens. You just don't bulldoze antiquity. You have to save it. And what an impressive way to do it. An infrastructure rebuilt for the Olympics that will be around almost as long as these oil jars. So build the museum here. It's got marbled corridors and a sleek new train system that looks suspiciously like Chicago's. And it runs directly underneath the city's heart of government. Oh, it's perfect, it's perfect. And look at everybody using it. It must be the high fuel prices. We'll just jump on here. Once they get it. You can detect a pride now among Athenians who smile when they speak about the Olympics, feeling that after all the arguing, it was worth it. Minister of Information, Panos Lividas. You were remaking the city.
That is correct.
And you've said rebranding, re-imaging for the rest of the world and centuries to come.
So, as I said, this is part of the tangible inheritance. Now, we also have the intangible inheritance. And what I mean by that is the fact that Greece, through the Olympics, had the opportunity to reposition itself on the global map of perceptions. Comparative advantages that were there, but that were not widely known, today they're known. The global community, the global public opinion, knew about the history and the culture of Greece, and it's also knew about the wonderful beaches and the sun and the sea and hospitality. After the Olympics, the global public opinion considers Greece as a country that can actually deliver, a country that is credible, its people as credible partners. And that's why we felt secure. We did everything possible, and reality proves that we were right. They were wonderful and very secure and safe Olympic Games.
The Olympic Stadium, by the world-famous architect Calatrava, now used for regional and international soccer. But the most important benefit of having the Olympic Games in Athens was to have the eyes of the world focused on Greece. 4 years later, that has translated into 17 million people now visiting the country every year, almost double what it was before the Olympics. This is the changing of the guard at Constitution Square. Once the tourists come to see the modern Olympics, they want to see the rest of the country as well. That in a moment. Ulysses never saw Greece like this. Much more than a group of islands, mainland Greece is mountains, forests, and farmlands, and magic. This is the land of gods and goddesses that resound through the literature of Western civilization. We're headed for Olympia, the site of the original Olympics. Originally means 4th and 5th century BC. It was not a town, but only a sanctuary with buildings associated with the games and the worship of the gods. There's a temple of Zeus and a National Archaeological Museum of Olympia, where a lot of those statues and monuments have been gathered. This is the ancient stadium where it all began. On only dirt embankments, they could hold half of Soldier Field.
Do we know how the athletes were chosen?
They were amateur athletes. They had to be free male Greeks, meaning no women, no foreigners, no slaves had the right to do the games, so that they all had the same training, as far as we know. The athletes were truly motivated because they came here with the sheer pleasure of winning. Victory was everything for them, and in fact, when you won on the track, it would have been for you the best opportunity for expressing your gratitude, your deep devotion, and your true love for the gods, most particularly the father of the gods, Zeus.
If the stadium held 45,000 people, where did they all come from?
Tourism, as it's been experienced today, it was first born back to those times, the Roman imperial times. So pilgrims who came here, they came on foot. They would have come from mainland Greece, but they came by boat as well. That was a live dream, to come to Olympia, to be a spectator, to watch the games. It would have been for them a perfect opportunity, not only to see the greatest athletes of the world, of the ancient Greek world, about to perform on the stadium, but to see at the same time the magnificent works of art Olympia has been full with. Bronze made, marble made, depicting gods, heroes, and Olympic victors. There were very many bronze horses.
Olympia was far from the politics of Athens, a place set aside only for athletics and art. This is Nike from 421 BC. The marble statue of Hermes, 330 BC. Myth has it that Hercules founded the games. Here he's seen trying to capture a Cretan bull. Statues from a temple on the grounds. These formed the pediment at the top of the columns. Depicting the battle of the centaurs, the face of a centaur, half man, half horse. A bronze Corinthian helmet from the 7th century BC. Artifacts from 500 BC. This is why Greece stays with you. Spectacular landscape set against a history where democracy was born, where civilization rose to great heights, where philosophy and the arts were valued as highly as science and commerce, which was centered here. This place is called the Agora, a place beneath the Acropolis where teaching occurred, where philosophers and orators strolled the grounds to discuss ideas. There's a lot to see in Greece, but we have a date back at the Grand Britannia Hotel where Maggie Daly is helping their chefs prepare that Greek dinner.
So here we have some onion. We're going to
Put that in the olive oil. I love that sound.
yes, let's do that. So the onion is ready. 6 or 7.
Okay.
Perfect. You do it better than me.
That's perfect.
We're going to add
There's
the ouzo.
ouzo.
Okay.
Yes. Opa.
Now we put the shrimps here. We cover it with our sauce.
The aroma is heaven.
So next, red mullets. Okay, perfect.
Is that all right?
Yes. Perfect.
It looks good.
Here I have a pan with extra virgin olive oil.
Certainly
fish
not
is
for
ready.
cooking. Okay. This
Okay.
is the chef's eye that knows the fish is ready. Little cherry tomatoes.
For color.
This is it. But if I were home, I'd want to throw a few of these potatoes on too. I'm
Some,
trying to do it so that
yes.
I'm worried about the presentation.
So,
And where did our meal come from? Chicago restaurateur John Apostolou and I found the Mother Lode, the Athens fish market. This is another vendor who would benefit from Olympic business. Did I say fish? Are there any left in the Mediterranean? Is this where most of the people come, or are these restaurants?
Well, this is restaurants, peddlers, and it's a public market really for anyone.
So we're looking for some red snapper, sea bass maybe, grouper.
Grouper, red mullets. This is the sea bass.
Where were these caught? Yeah.
Yeah, this is from the Greek islands. You see inside the scales here, how fresh and red it is.
Yes.
This is just came out of the water.
Wow.
Right there. This is another really traditional red mullets or beeliners. We appraise a lot here in this part of the world. You know, the red mullets, you can grill them or you can still fry them.
Any sea bream? Sea bream? Oh, that's the sea bream? Oh, well.
Έλα, ρίχτω, παιδί μου. There you go.
Back to Mrs. Daly's meal, in the evening shadow of the Parthenon, astride the Acropolis, a rooftop dinner featuring the fish we caught earlier in the day in the Athens fish market. Wow. Oh,
Boy, you fellas know how to pick fishes.
I'll say. Yeah, John was the man. John was the man. This is part of any Olympics package. The side benefits from the commerce that comes from having the world as your visitors. Well, here, let's drink a toast. We'll drink a toast to the marvelous meal. There we go. Let this be a lesson for Chicago. Although we don't have the Acropolis to look at, rooftop dining does have its benefits. One is the view. Another? Well, it's about 11 o'clock in Athens. These parks and promenades were all rebuilt for the Olympics, all of which lends itself to a nightlife second to none. This is the Plaka, the old city of Athens, just a few blocks from the city center, where shops and restaurants receive the tourists into the late hours of the night. There is an old tradition of bargaining that goes back to 400 BC, if only the prices did. So is 180 your best price?
180, but give you discounts 160. That best squeeze like the never.
How about 150? 150.
Okay, why not?
We're gonna make you famous.
For you, yeah. Because like, well, it's
Yeah,
your
that's
call.
nice.
It's your call. Forgive. But it's look nice also.
Oh yeah,
That
nice.
Yeah.
That's good. Oh yeah. Okay, well let's
Okay.
get that. We'll get that.
150. What is that?
And one thing about traveling with the First Lady of Chicago, you can't go very far without someone from the South Side popping up. Or is it the North Side?
Awesome!
Nice to see you.
Bill Kurtis.
Yeah. Is Rich here too? He's coming. Oh, he's coming.
One is tempted to eat dinner twice here, especially when the table is set in the middle of the street. But at midnight, with a little ouzo, a little wine, soon everyone is dancing with the stars. Is that really the sunrise? Looks just like Lake Michigan. Thank goodness we weren't part of the official visit. We're just in time for the announcement.
The cities that have been selected as candidate cities for the 2016 Olympic Games are Chicago, Tokyo, Rio de Janeiro, Madrid.
What a great honor, and I've had the opportunity of meeting many of them that have participated and with utmost respect and admiration. And this is a very competitive field. You have Rio de Janeiro, you have Madrid, you have Tokyo, and these are wonderful global international cities and very competitive.
And the city of Chicago really deserved this, and now we have to deliver on it as the next step. This is just a step along the way.
We all know how lucky we are to have such a beautiful and wonderful city with citizens that are extraordinary. And it'll be nice to tell that story to the world.
There is one more stop before we bid goodbye to Greece. Chicago's buildings are recognized around the world. It's hard to compete with Athens' #1 tourist attraction, the most recognizable building in the world. From almost anywhere in Athens, you can see the Acropolis, an island of stone, as if some Greek god said, "I need a dramatic setting for my temple." And dramatic it is, requiring not a hard climb, but enough to make you appreciate why it's regarded as the perfect site for the world's most perfect building. It was built around 450 BC and studied ever since, and to this day no one is quite sure how they did it. What we do know is that it was a shelter for the goddess Athena, daughter of Zeus, a warrior goddess who would protect the city named after her, Athens. A huge statue of her was made of gold and ivory. But we'll have to imagine it today, behind the scaffolds and workers who are working to save and restore portions of the Parthenon. Something has caught Maggie Daly's eye. Those columns, shaped like women, holding up a stone platform. They should look familiar. Recreations of them can be seen at the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago, left over from the Great Columbian Exposition in 1893. They are called the Caryatids, 6 massive female statues. These are also replicas. The originals are protected from the corrosive air of modern Athens. What is remarkable about the Parthenon is that it was conceived as a theatrical event rather than a functional building. It is meant to be seen only from the outside. The visitor was never invited inside. As the citizen of ancient Athens climbs the Acropolis, they would see first the colonnade of 23 Doric columns. Their placement was for dramatic effect. Slowly walking around the corner, the citizens would face the various friezes or stories in stone. And finally, they would be led to the front of the Parthenon and a clear view of the goddess Athena. The Jefferson Memorial in Washington, D.C. has the same effect to tease the viewer until he's in position for the full impact view. It is an illusion of a building built to impress, and that it does. The nice thing about Athens is that you're never far from a meal. Outside, shaded from the intense Greek sun, where a meal is always a celebration. We've all been all over the world. We have seen the Acropolis all our lives, and yet to be able to come here and have it be even better, can you imagine?
It's one of the most amazing things I've experienced, because it is something that we've seen and we think, oh, you know, we've seen it. And to be able to come into the city and see that it's the center, it's there, it's in the middle of this beautiful old city.
Frankly, we were a little intimidated by Athens in Greece. Seeing the results of their Olympic effort makes us wonder if anything but the Olympics could cause such a massive makeover in such a short amount of time. Then again, there are some things you don't want to make over. That's a nice head start for Chicago. And when you just sit back and look at what we have to work with, the Olympics are the only thing missing. Chicago offers up architecture as dramatic as Athens, putting a newer spin on the classics. What we offer is a tighter venue for the Olympics, with most events within walking distance along the lake, approaching perhaps what the Olympics used to be. That may be our secret weapon. We'll find out October 2nd.